Hey guys, it's me, Missy with Rustique Relics, and today I did a live show and I was using these 49 in Market books, and I did not like how either one of them turned out, so I'm thinking third time's a charm. I'm going to do it one more time. For this one, I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the other one. I'm going to use the Dixie Belle Buttercream. It's just a really pretty, creamy, antique looking color. It paired up well with the rice paper and the images that I got going on. So chalk paint is thick, so you're not going to want to, spray the chipboard with water because it's chipboard. So I started out with a damp paintbrush, and then I just use my continuous mister, and I just spray a little bit of it in the paint, and that allowed my paint to stay thin enough that I could work with it on this board and not leave it with brush strokes, and it stayed pretty even and smooth. So I was really happy with it. The board took the paint really well. I did do 2 coats. I probably could have got by with just one. It's just me that I always do 2 coats. So while that's drying, I'm going to work on my decoupage paper. So you can find these on our website at rustiquerelics.com. We just released these images. This is a church with a hymnal underneath it. I'm just going to remove the excess paper. And then what I do here is I take my lighter and I just go around the edges. So this is new for me. I've never done this before today, so I was really excited about it. It gives it that antique look, but it also cleans up your edges. So when you tear this kind of rice paper, it can leave like fuzz and string around the edges. And for most projects, it's fine. But for this one, I didn't want that. So using my lighter and just going around the edges really worked well. One thing I will say that I did different is in my live show, I applied the Modge Podge to the book and then laid my decoupage paper on it. On this piece, I didn't. And a couple of reasons why was because the edges of the paper, like if there was any ash or anything around that, it got trapped in the Modge Podge and then it was on my painted surface. And this is raw chalk paint, so you really, don't want that on there. And then plus it's Modge Podge, so it's just going to glue it to your surface. So I felt like the best way to prevent that was to apply the Modge Podge on a different surface and then lay the paper down on it. So I'm just using, this is parchment paper underneath me, and I just apply it, and you can kind of see where like a little bit of the trash was left on the parchment paper. So this was like the cleanest method I feel like to do this, so that way my painted surface stayed nice and clean. So these two are going to go on the back. It's going to be like a layered look. So the first one is going to go the same as as I did on the cover. I'm just going to remove the excess paper, and then I'm going to use my lighter and go around the edges of that. But the tree is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a different process because we're layering it on top of this decoupage paper. So first thing I'm going to do is, use my lighter, go around the edges, get it all nice and clean. And, again, just be really careful. Just kind of like as you're going through and burning it, just blow on it so that way it stays off. You don't want to burn more of the image because you can't get it back. I'm going to apply it the same way I did as the first one. I'm just going to apply the Modge Podge to the back of the decoupage paper. You just want to make sure that you give it, you cover the entire paper. And then just lay it on your book. And when I do that, I kind of just lightly lay it on the top. And then that way I can kind of drag my paper to where I want it to be. And then I can just apply a little bit of pressure and make sure it's nice and smooth. And if your edges wrap around like this one did, you can just apply a little bit more decoupage paper or Modge Podge and glue it down. Okay, so for the tree. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove as much of the white as I can without, losing any of my tree. And then I'm going to use my lighter and I'm going to clean the edges of this one up. I really liked burning the edges of this one because when you go to layer it onto the next decoupage paper, it really does give it a definition and those clean lines against, the two different types of paper. So it worked out really well. Okay, so because we are layering this paper, the first thing I want to do is give it a good coat of Modge Podge on the back of the rice paper, so that way it seals it up, because I want my tree to be, I want it to pop. I want the colors to be vibrant, so I need to paint the back of the decoupage paper so that way nothing underneath shows through. So after the Modge Podge is dry, I just take buttercream, and the reason why I stuck with buttercream is because that's what it's already, you know, covering my board. It's that antiquish look and color. So if I would have used white, it would have made any of the white rice paper that I couldn't take away, it would have made that even brighter. So I wanted the white of the rice paper to kind of blend in with everything else, so it, you know, just sticking with the same color kept it like that. It worked out really well. So we're going to let this dry all the way. You just want to make sure that you do thin, even strokes. You don't want to saturate your rice paper because you don't want it to bleed through on the other side. So after it's all dry, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take the Modge Podge. Your rice paper at this point is a lot stiffer. It's easier to work with. And I'm just going to apply the Modge Podge so that way I can apply the tree to the book. So I'm just going to lightly put it on there, and I am going to wrap the tree around the edge of the book. So after I get it where I want it to be placed, I'm just going to firmly press it down. You want to make sure that you go around all your edges and around the side of the book. Now that everything's dry, I'm going to seal up my rice paper and my chalk paint with Dixie Belle clear flat coat. The reason why I like this one is because it's matte, so when it's dry, you can't see it, but it also seals up the edges of my rice paper. It seals up my chalk paint, and it just makes everything, you know, durable. So if you wanted to add even more after the clear coat is dry, you absolutely could. It's a really workable surface. You just don't want to overwork your clear coat because you're just going to activate the Modge Podge or anything like that. So this is my finished project. I am happier with this one. If you're looking for the 40.90 Market book, you can get that at maymaymadeit.com. The rice paper and the chalk paint you can get at rustiquerelics.com. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next time.